Chris Evert, but she has never played on this stadium court.
Never played on the stadium court and never played in the semifinals of a Grand Slam event. Laurie Mcneal was in all 3 events at this U.S. Open, but she did not play one match on the stadium court, which I think is a little unfortunate and possibly unfair, because it is a huge stadium and it's very different out there, the atmosphere. Laurie Mcneal is a tremendous athlete. She and Zina Garrison are doubles partners, best friends, and they work very hard on the tour. She had a tremendous win against Chris Evert the other day, and it'll be fascinating to see if she can carry that confidence further against Steffi Graf. Steffi hits the ball much harder than Chris does right now, but Laurie Mcneal sticks to her game plan of getting to the net as soon as possible and uses her athletic ability. I think she's got a chance.
This is an intriguing matchup. We'll bring it to you right here at the U.S. Open, live in a moment.
The stadium, Pat Summerall with Tony Trabert and Mary Carrillo, as Steffi Graf and Laurie Mcneal complete their warm-ups. McNeil, of course, on the right, Graf on the left. Steffi seated number 1, Laurie Mcneal number 11. What are your thoughts, Mary?
Well, Steffi reminds me so much of Yvonne Lendl. You know, in the 70s, tennis was dominated by baseliners: Chris Evert, Bjorn Borg, Jimmy Connors. Then in the early 80s, it was Martina and John McEnroe serving volleyers. And now both Steffi and Yvonne represent a super strain of baseliners. They do everything that Chrissy does well and that Borg did well, but they run really hard. They serve real big, which is a big difference. They hit the ball very, very hard as well, and I think she's going to be extremely tough to beat.
What about Laurie Mcneal?
Laurie played beautifully against Chrissy, but admittedly, you know, Chris said she was so flat out there, she just couldn't pull it together. She said Laurie was tough. She just kept attacking her, but Chris said she played tentatively. The last thing in the world Laurie is facing today is a tentative player.
Tony, let me ask you this. We heard so much about being in this stadium for the first time. How big of a factor is that, really?
I think it's a big factor because this is not a normal size surrounding. The court obviously is the same size, but it's bigger area around it. When you toss the ball up to serve, you got white shirts and things, background things to distract you. The dimensions will look a little bit different. But I think the biggest problem for Laurie will be the enormity of the occasion, Pat.
Right.
I think that if she's at all nervous, Steffi Graf's the kind of can jump all over, get so far ahead of her before she can really settle down and recover. It'll be too late. When she played Chris, I think that she was nervous the first set and a little bit tentative, and then got into it and really did well.
Steffi Graf to serve.
Also, from what we've learned and from the people that we've talked to this year and years past, it can be a very tricky wind.
Play.
Yes. You can't go by what the flags tell you up the top of the stadium because it swirls down the playing surface.
Graf serving.
15 love.
Laurie Mcneal comes from a very athletic family. Mother was a tennis player, is a tennis player. Her father played professional football with the Chargers.
Laurie's father still holds some records for interceptions. He was pretty good.
The defensive back, yes. Very good.
If you're in the NFL, you got to be pretty good.
30-15.
Just like if you're in the semifinals of the U.S. Open.
You've got to be pretty good.
We just saw Steffi's record this year. She's lost only once, that in the Wimbledon final. And I'm convinced she could have won that as well. If she just knew that she knows what she was saying and her father was saying. They said, look, she hasn't played on grass a lot. It'll be 2 years before she knows how to win on it. But she got there this year, and had she realized she could win on it, she would have. I really believe that. She plays great on grass.
Looks very confident, very comfortable. That's how she got this far.
Hasn't had problems at all, as you can see. Those first 3 rounds went very quickly. She beat Sylvia Hanukkah. That first set was close, and then the win over Pam.
Game Graf. First game.
Steffi holds, wins the first game, first set. He leads Laurie Mcneal 1-love. women's semifinal. Graf won the first game. Laurie Mcneal won the first point of the second game. She's serving. And now it's 15-all. Shriver's down in our studio with Tim Bryant. Tam, what are your thoughts about Laurie Mcneal and her possibilities, her chances?
Well, I'm looking at Laurie now, and this game is so important for Laurie. She's got to see 1-all on that scoreboard, because if Steffi Graf gets off to a 2-love lead, Steffi likes to play fast, and the next thing you know, it's 5-love. So she's got to concentrate very hard, get a lot of first serves in. One thing to look for in Laurie Mcneal's game is she can get a bit of double fault-itis. She can go on a streak where she'll double fault too much, well, anytime's too much, but that's something very much to look for.
That's how she got here, Mary.
Well, she beat 2 seeds. She beat, as you can see, she had a tough set against Nicole Provis there, dropped a set there. Then she beat Zina Garrison, the 7th seed, and of course the 3rd seed, Chris Evert. These many people have never...
40-30.
I mean, Laurie's never heard this many people applaud for her before, and that deserved a lot of applause. She intercepted that just like her father would have.
Well, as Pam Shriver said, that's a very important game. And she does hold her service.
1 game all.
And it's 1 apiece.
Laurie says she knows how aggressive Graf is going to be off the ground, so she's got to match that aggression at the net.
She also says she's not intimidated at all by Steffi's record or the way she plays. If that's true, then she should play a pretty good match.
Very gifted athlete.
Certain patterns to look for from Graf. You saw there she rolled that backhand. When she rolls her backhand, she likes to go back cross court. When she slices, she likes to go up the line. She can go against that, but we're talking preferences here.
Love.
Steffi likes to get on with it.
Who do you think the fans are pulling for?
Yeah, well, the ball lands on the sideline as far away from us you can be, and people behind us are hollering no. You know, like they got the best seat in the house to call that line.
Game Graf.
In a hurry. It's 2-1 Graf, first set, women's semifinal.
Graf leads 2-1.
Being at love 15. Laurie Mcneal crowding that net at every chance, every opportunity. She's in.
15 all.
I think that Steffi Graf is not wise to slice the backhand return because Laurie moves so well. She'll close in if it stays up. She has to start going over it to get the ball down and get it to Laurie more quickly so she can't get in so close. Graf has the ability to do that. It's a question whether she can make herself do it on the return of serve.
Scheduled time to leave the air was 5 o'clock, but the reason we're still on and going to stay on is because of that men's doubles championship match. 5 sets it went, the 5th set and a tiebreaker, and then Martina won 6-2, 6-2. But we'll be here until the conclusion of this match between Laurie Mcneal, at whom you look now, and Steffi Graf. 40-15.
Steffi's father looking on.
Not very happily at the moment. Two.
Laurie sort of glides around that court, you know, really being the good athlete she is. She moves awfully well. She's a quarterfinalist at the '86 Wimbledon Championships and the '87 Australian Championships. The Opens.
Ooh.
Laurie's really been drawing errors from Graf by pressing so much. This is just how she played against Chris Evert. Charging in on everything she could.
Times she came to the net against Everett.
30-all.
30-all.
Laurie likes to go under the backhand and take it on the move and come in behind it. So the way to stop that is get onto the forehand side. Make her have to swing at it and come in. She'll make some, but she won't have to make some errors for you. Martinez much the same way.
Arthur Ashe, watching Laurie beat Chris the other day, said she's a right-handed Martinez.
Break point for Laurie Mcneal.
Steffi's only been broken 5 times in this entire tournament. Lights are on now.
It's gone.
Stays back. Laurie Mcneal leads 3-2 the first. McNeil serving. She leads 3-2. And 15-love in this game. 30-love in this game.
Hey, what if she wins this first set? This place will go nuts, and they will stay with her throughout this match, and that can really get her sky high and can rattle Steffi Graf.
Love.
Thus far in this match, Laurie Mcneal has not missed a first serve.
She doesn't look intimidated at all by anything.
I can tell you, she's not as calm as that face looks. The stomach has to be churning a little bit.
It would be.
But she's doing an awfully good job.
But it really seems as though it's Graf that's intimidated.
Yeah, it does. Or nervous or whatever.
They played last November in the Virginia Sons Championships, and it went 3 sets. Laurie wasn't nearly the player then that she is now.
The ball seems to be flying a little bit on Steffi, and I don't know whether it's the looseness, the tension of her racket. If she has a tighter one, if I could whisper, I'd say get a tighter one so that you can get some control. Kill a little of that liveliness.
Well, Tony, these
15 all.
two faced each other on the doubles court yesterday. Laurie and her friend Zina Garrison played against Graf and Sabatini in the grandstand, and that was a tough three-setter. And it was Sabatini who pulled it out for herself and Graf. Graf was missing big yesterday as well on serves, on ground strokes. A bunch of reporters tried to talk with Graf after that tough doubles match yesterday, and she complained of a head cold and begged off. And I asked Pam earlier today if she in fact really did have a cold, if it was bothering her, and Pam said the trainer said it is pretty bad. But this is her real problem out here today. Very hot 11th seed.
Watch how Laurie floats in. She makes this backhand fairly deep in the court. She's actually behind the baseline, gets it real deep, didn't hit it real hard. She got into a good volleying position. Graf lucky to get a racket on it and couldn't come close. Back to live action, 40-30. That was a little loose.
4-3 McNeil. That's Graf hold.
McNeil leads 4-3.
Earlier today, Stefan Edberg and Anders Jared won the men's doubles championship. Tony Trabert, you were down and part of the presentation.
That's James Unruh, who is executive vice president of the Swedes. Were very happy, and the president of the USTA, Gordon Jorgensen, presented the trophy. You might remember, Pat, that 2 years ago in the presentation after the Flack-Seguso victory, when that controversy, I asked Flack if that ball actually hit him in the hair. So when we were down there today, he was upset, and he said, "What are you going to do, ask me if the ball hit me?" And I said, "Well, what would you like me to ask you?"
Did you ask him?
No, I didn't. But then Seguso, they said, "Why don't you ask us about the whiff?" And he was laughing, messing with the Swede's hair while they were talking. When they both swung at it and missed,
right,
in the last set.
Both Flack and Seguso had a couple of whiffs. McNeil and Graf. Women's semifinal to see who faces Martina Navratilova in the final. McNeil leading and serving 4-3.
Love.
Dirty Love. Shriver again is down, and look at the first serve percentages.
Pam, that's what you said she had to do.
Well, at this point, I'm so proud of Laurie Mcneal for playing the way she has to play to have a chance. It's so easy to be intimidated by the #1 player in the world, particularly in your first Grand Slam final. Laurie Mcneal is taking it to Steffi Graf. She's making Steffi come up with passing shots like that.
Those statistics, by the way, Pam, are supplied to us by, with the courtesy of the Unisys Corporation, to whom we are grateful.
That is Steffi Graf's favorite forehand. When she steps into the court on the backhand side, We'll see here. She plays the off backhand. Laurie, the good athlete she is, makes the shot. There it is. She likes to go back the other way, but it's tough to anticipate. Laurie's had 40 love this game. Now it's 40-30, so this is a tremendous second serve right here.
It's her second ace.
And a few people noticed.
Here's another look. Second
McNeil
serve.
leads
Graf stepped around
5 games
to
to
hit a
3.
forehand. She moved to her left and left it open, and Laurie took advantage. So now Graf serving at 3-5, trying to stay in this first set. And the people are loving it.
Today are finding out what kind of player Laurie Mcneal is. We see her coming to net here, the slice backhand up the line, and Steffi Graf, tremendous footwork.
15 love.
Here's an isolation on Graf. Said she rolls over that forehand. That was pretty much of a sitter for her. Laurie was out of position. We come back to live action. 15 love.
Steffi tried to play the roll backhand, but she does not do it as well up the line. She likes to pull that one back across court.
Laurie has gotten away with some short approach shots thus far. Ball staying down some. She's not hitting a lot of pace on it. It's worked for her.
You know, I think because McNeil moves so well, Graf feels the pressure even off the short approach shots, because she looks up and she sees McNeil there.
She's got to hit such a good shot.
Where Laurie is, she's about 4 feet inside the baseline right now, and she'll probably step forward.
That should give Steffi Graf quite a bit of confidence, hitting that her topspin backhand down the line that time.
Game to Graf, but McNeil still leads 5-4 in the first. Laurie Mcneal serving at 5-4 and up 15 love.
Serving with new tennis balls.
Just long.
30 love.
Steffi Graf has not lost a set in this tournament.
She's 2 points from losing her first.
Laurie's a quick player as well, which is fun. You know, they don't mess around in between points. Just walk up there and bounce it and let's get going.
Love.
3 set points for Laurie Mcneal.
like that. Aced her once, missed it again by an inch. Here, Laurie Mcneal has a tremendous amount of guts to try this on a set point against a #1 ranked player in the world and make it. She's got to be feeling very confident. She knows Steffi Graf is looking to run around the backhand to hit a forehand.
Second set.
So she gambles.
Graf to serve.
And Pam, she had them on their feet
Please,
here in the
players
stadium.
continuous.
Everybody stood up to applaud Laurie Mcneal's efforts.
Quiet, please, ladies and gentlemen.
27 minutes for that first set.
She won it 6-4.
15 love.
Laurie's coach, John Wilkerson, said he was really proud of her in her match against Christie because she stuck with her game plan throughout the 3 sets.
There's been a change in our schedule for tomorrow because of a rather ominous weather forecast. We'll start at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Edberg, Elander, Lindell, Connor, and then the women's final. Martina Navratilova against the winner of this match. It's 30 love.
(30-15).
30-15. First double fault by Graf.
Steffi would know that Laurie Mcneal is going to come in behind her second serve, so she tries to get a little more on it, therefore she double faults.
Isolation on Laurie Mcneal. Watch that backhand. Good motion. Solid out in front. Not a big motion. Said, all right.
Look at that smile on
yes,
her face.
Yes, indeed.
I like it.
30 all.
First serve.
She's got to be saying, you know, my coach told me this would work, and I wasn't sure if, you know, if I could believe him or not. And darn, here I am, up a set.
And it's working.
Yeah, it's working. It's great.
Caught her off stride.
You know, you got to know when you keep coming to the net, you're going to get past some, you're going to get caught at your feet some, and everything else. The percentages are in your favor, and if it works for you, you got to stick with it. You can't let a few of those turn you off from going into the net.
Back at the U.S. Open in just a moment. Graf won the first game of the second set. It's 15 love.
Just 2-0 after losing the first set in matches this year. That means she hadn't lost many first sets.
That's right.
That smash was a little too easy, wasn't it, Pam?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see some signs of nerves now. It's going to be interesting to see how she handles it. She realizes now she's 1 set away from the U.S. Open Finals. There's John Wilkerson, her coach of many, many years from Houston. He's having a good time right now.
Well, John Wilkerson coaches both
15.
Laurie Mcneal and Zina Garrison. He says Garrison's real emotional and McNeil is very laid back. He thinks she does it as a defense mechanism, but he said if Laurie ever lets go and lets her real self get involved, you'll see one heck of a tennis player.
So for the first time in the match, Graf is able to break Laurie Mcneal's serve.
2 games to love.
It's that lethal forehand that she's starting to groove a little bit now.
And She does hit it out the other way most of the time. She can pull it cross court, but she really prefers to go the other way. When she hits the cross or out the other way, she has more pace on it as well.
Seems as though Graf just has shaken off that first set. She's much more resolute and decisive in the first games of this second.
There's the 1-2 punch of the slice backhand up the line and the cross-court roll.
15 love.
And at this point, Laurie McNeil has to be cautious as she doesn't go away from her game plan.
I tell you, I've never seen Graf miss this many backhands. Her roll backhands and her slices as well.
Deep.
30 all.
And Laurie's not overplaying the shots. She's just sort of smooth with it, keeping it in play. She went under that forehand, directed it down the line.
Maybe you were talking about in Martinez's match, she had to guard against looking ahead to maybe a meeting with Graf. I think Graf, particularly in that first set, the same thing would apply. Came to Graf. McNeil wins the first game.
15 love.
First point, I beg your pardon. 15 love. Serving love 3. Right now, for a report, let's go to Jim Nance.
Thank you, Pat. I'm here at courtside with John Wilkerson, Laurie McNeil's coach for 11 years. And John, frankly, this place is just stunned. Everyone thought Steffi was unbeatable, and Laurie took the first set. What was the strategy going in?
Basically, to keep as much pressure on her as possible and keep the ball out of the center of the court. That's basically it.
She seems very composed out there.
But she told us she really wanted to match, and I'm thinking she's really going after it.
Must be very gratifying for you, having coached her for this long, to see her here at the semifinals at the Open.
Extremely gratifying.
We'll talk to you after the match. Let's go back up to Pat.
All right, Jim, we had a little problem with your microphone breaking up a bit.
The big Graf forehand, and it really is quite a shot. She gets so much body into it, real quick racket work, and she holds it to the very last fraction of a moment before she declares herself and then spins it by you.
a look at how Steffi Graf leaves the ground when she hits this forehand. Both feet off the ground. I'm not sure if she does that as she leaps up to go over the back of the ball to get a little more extra topspin, but she does it almost all the time.
What a story it is, John Wilkerson.
Graf leads 3-1.
McGregor Park in Houston, Texas is where he used to work out of.
And he's brought him along himself.
Oh,
He's
he sure
really done
has.
a marvelous job with both Zena and Laurie.
He wanted to start junior clinics. He had charged a fee for the clinics, but no one showed up. So we made him free, and a whole bunch of kids came out, and Laurie and Zena were the standouts.
Laurie's mother, I think, came out and said, I got a daughter I'd like to play. How about taking Lisa, bring her out tomorrow? Making history.
That last game was a big game for Laurie McNeil because she'd lost 3 games in a row. And in the past, on big occasions, Laurie had, for instance, at the quarterfinals of Wimbledon last year, she won the first set against Hanna Menlikova and then lost easily. So it's very important she gets back in this second set.
15 all.
Our speed gun clocking the velocity of the serves, 88 miles an hour for Graf.
She's not hitting as hard as she can hit it right now either because she wants to make sure she gets a good percentage. The first one's in. Look where Laurie is. About 4 feet or so inside, and she'll take it and move forward. Charge into the net. Would be advisable to try to get it on the backhand side of Graf. If
I would think so.
If at all possible.
If you can.
Game Graf.
We'll be back at the U.S. Open in just a moment.
Graf leads 4-1.
4-1 in the second set after McNeil won the first. It's 15-love.
All.
She went under that one, but she drove through the ball, so she had some pace on it. Sometimes she sort of cuts down the back of the ball and it comes up and sits up and says, hit me. I've said this before, but I don't know if you agree, Mary, but I think the best swing you ever get at an opponent is off their second serve. The ball's higher. Once they make one volley, you're normally on the run, the ball's lower, and they're in a good volleying position.
And Graf gets a look at another second serve right now.
See what she tries to do with it. Once you let Laurie make one decent volley, then I think you're in the defensive, basically.
Good serve.
That's going to eventually convince Graf not to try to step to her left to hit forehands.
Yes.
And that will open up that backhand side so she can get the serves over there.
McNeil's even had 2 aces off second serves right down the tee.
40-15.
It's very interesting sitting here watching this. The puzzle is starting to be solved a little bit for the rest of the players, how to play Steffi Graf. And you have to be aggressive and you have to have a big serve. Laurie McNeil has the answers.
That's what you said the other day, Pam, after your loss to Graf. You said, we've all been stupid for 2 years. We've been letting her dictate the pace.
Not only during the points, but Steffi Graf also loves to just rush. She's ready to serve right here again. No time at all in between points or games.
Love 15.
Well, it's McNeil who gets to dictate the pace right here. Shorter the point, the better for Laurie McNeil.
all.
Laurie said what she's got to improve in her game the most is that she's got to be more decisive and she's got to concentrate better. A lot harder to concentrate in the second set after you've won than the first. And I think in both categories she's dropped a bit this second set. Though all credit should go to Steffi for really hitting her stride after that first set loss.
That's a good play, though, from Laurie McNeil, because Steffi Graf has come to expect everyone to chip that backhand back across court. And every once in a while, you got to keep her honest by going up the line, but it is a harder shot to hit.
Game, Graf.
Game to Graf. She leads 5-2 in the second. There's got to be a huge traffic jam coming up as the Cardinals move into Shea Stadium. The crowd starts to leave here.
15 love.
They almost adjoin. Three-game series at Shea Stadium. The Cardinals and the Mets battling for first place.
Laurie sort of stumbled.
Yeah.
15 all.
After she made her forehand volley, she was moving towards the center. I don't know what happened. She sort of stumbled a second. That threw her off balance, so she was not in a good position to try to get over to that next shot.
All.
First double fault for Laurie McNeil. 30 all.
And that's tremendous that it is her first double fault, because as I said earlier, she can string them together. She should get a first serve in here.
Okay. That just was wide.
30-40.
And set point for Steffi Graf.
One all.
This is not a changeover. Thank you. Final set. Graf to serve. Quiet, please.
Now it's really nervous time.
Yep. How quickly Laurie can move, because she was taken out wide on the forehand side, so she's going out of court and she ends up in the net to volley.
tell you, you can dance to this. This is what Laurie did so well in the first set, moving beautifully, forcing the pace, putting the pressure on Graf.
Love 30. Another look, setting up for the overhead. The work has been done by now. This was the easy part. Had Graf scampering from corner to corner. As we come back live, it is love 43 break points for Laurie Mcneal. First game of the final set.
McNeil won the first set. Graf came back to win the second.
Would you say Laurie Mcneal has started off aggressively in the third set?
I would certainly say so, Pam. That's sort of aggressive, too.
15-40.
Winner of this to play Martina Navratilova.
You got to say, if I do that 3 times in a row, I'm going to want to see if she can pass me 3 times in a row. Catch that tape once, hit it 3 inches wide, and I got my service break. So I'd be coming.
Still break point. We are live at the stadium court. You look down from the Goodyear blimp. It's Steffi Graf, the #1 seed, against the #11 seed, Laurie Mcneal. That's the situation. It's game 1 of the third set.
And Steffi Graf is so good at making you earn the big points. She doesn't make very many big mistakes on the huge points like this one.
That's something tennis expert Ted Tinling has said of Steffi Graf. He says she, more than any of the others, understands the necessity of getting the ball back one more time.
And hard.
There is the infamous Ted Tinling. Laurie's coach said we wanted to go down the center of the court. That's obviously to cut down the angle. The problem with that is you get to step around and hit a lot of forehands, as Graf did that time.
Tony, I think the mic was breaking up because actually what John Wilkerson said was that trying to stay away from the center of the court.
Well, I did misunderstand him then. Thank you.
I guess Coach Wilkerson figures if you hit it in the center of the court against Steffi, she'll step around and hit a forehand.
Break point for McNeil. Peter Graf very concerned at this stage.
He wasn't one of the 20,000 clapping just now.
No. Serve.
Here's another look. Steffi gets a short volley and hit very, very powerfully in the isolation on Laurie. She was really stretched out. What a marvelous athlete she is. She moves so gracefully.
A lot of little motors going on. Both players.
Quick.
McNeil.
A big break for Laurie now. This is her 5th break point in this game.
A lot of the spectators didn't realize that that ball was out.
That's one of the few points, Mary, that I didn't get the feeling that she was looking to get in. And it's a break point. What a time to try to keep charging. Like you say, stick with that game plan.
Advantage Graf.
That Steffi Graf, it's new to her. She's the #1 ranked player in the world. Laurie McNeil's ranked 11. This is a different kind of pressure, and she's testing herself, and she's going to get through it. She is a great player, but this is very interesting to see Steffi with this kind of pressure.
Advantage Graf.
Match is an hour old exactly now. First game, third set. Advantage Graf.
See, the women play 2 sets in an hour. How long do you think the guys would have taken to play 2 sets?
I don't know how to answer that.
Another missed backhand from Graf. You know, it's interesting. On the slice backhands, her stroke is too short, and she's been netting them. She's been going big when she rolls them, the top spins.
And she normally goes down the line when she goes under it. As Pam had mentioned earlier, down the line it appeared to be open. This is the 7th deuce in this game.
Interested spectator, Martina Navratilova, who will play the winner of this match in the finals tomorrow, weather permitting.
I'm sure she's thinking about our doubles semifinal tomorrow afternoon, don't you?
It's on everyone's mind.
That's what I thought. We play Steffi Graf and Gabriela Sabatini tomorrow in that match after Martina's final.
Tough second serve coming up here at break point.
He got the break. Game of the final set. You won the first game. In the stadium.
30-15.
Over in the grandstand, Laurie McNeil's close friend Zena Garrison playing mixed doubles with Sherwood Stewart. not what you'd call a packed house.
And you get the feeling Zena's craning an ear over too, trying to hear the score.
I got the feeling that someone's there sort of telling her what the scores are, what all the roars are about.
Well, her friend has shown such a magnificent disregard for the rankings and the seedings here this week. Beat Zena, then beat Chris Evert. He's trying to take it to the #1 player in the world here. Up 1 in love in the third.
Second double fault. That one was 6 feet long.
And Zena, you know, had match point against Laurie, and Laurie hit a let cord that just dribbled over, and then eventually beat her in a tie break, as I recall, in the third. So Zena saying maybe I could be there instead. Now break point for Graf. She needs it to get back even in this final set.
It's interesting about Laurie Mcneal's grip. She doesn't really have a grip. She puts a masking tape over the racket, so there isn't a grip. It's fascinating. She's the only one on tour that does it that way.
Must be pretty tacky. I don't mean it. I don't mean it the way you took it.
I'm sorry. That's what being #1 in the world is all about. You're down a break in the third, and you come right back and get it back.
Ball change.
I've always felt that's the time to try to get your break back. I mean, you're obviously going to get any time you can, but when you've broken someone or they've broken you, they either can get careful or they get cocky, and it's a good time to try to get even.
From here on in, it'll be interesting to see how many double faults Laurie Mcneal hits. She had a crucial one in that last service game, but now it's Steffi Graf's serve.
Is so smooth here at Laurie Mcneal. She takes it back early. Doesn't look like she's hit it that hard, but look at the pace on it. Graf just able to get her racket on it.
Ball girl.
30-15, 1-all in the final set. Is that strong enough?
14-15.
Not many players can handle that shot. Martina Navratilova owns it. Pam Shriver knows how to hit it. And Graf showed that she too can come up with a big shot in a tough position.
Point, the tennis is just phenomenal. Every point is hard fought. There's no silly mistakes. We see Laurie Mcneal with a tremendous athletic ability and reach, and here playing the easy forehand volley into the open court.
Stations may now be leaving for local
Graf
news.
leads 2-1.
Here at the National Tennis Center, Steffi Graf leads Laurie Mcneal in the third set, 2-1. The situation. Laurie Mcneal serving. Steffi Graf covering.
Love 15.
Laurie really pops this one up. Graf, with all of her quickness, has plenty of time to put it away. But Graf is facing one of the quickest players around. That's why these rallies are happening. Not too many people can stay up with Steffi.
We'll see how confident Laurie McNeil is on this second serve.
Love 30.
Is that a message, Pam?
Well, it's just a feeling of seeing somebody play quite a few times in a year and knowing their patterns, and now she needs to take her time and get a high percentage of first serves in, particularly if she doesn't have confidence in her second serve.
Well, if we got a change in plans for tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we'll start. Edberg and Wilander will be first, Lindell Connors next, and then the Women's Singles Championship after that. That's change necessitated by a dreadful weather forecast.
15-40.
2 break points now for the #1 seeded Graf. Graf thought her ball was good.
The call was
Still
out.
think so.
30-40. Yes.
And we'll probably always think so.
Rackets down on the court. She doesn't like it. And is going to come over and talk about things.
You sure? It was a little bit late, huh?
Call was late. She's right about that. She says a little bit late.
Was not real decisive either. Joan Vormbaum from San Jose, California is the umpire. The rules state that if you can't see a space between the line and the ball, you can't change it. You can't call it out.
30-40.
Still break point.
Advantage Graf.
And there was a change from the pattern of usual. She sliced that one very firmly back across court, and Laurie McNeil was looking for the line.
Now we'll see if she wants to go up that center on this second serve, as she's done successfully a couple times. Be a courageous play.
Hit that went out. The game goes to Graf. She leads 3-1.
Graf leads 3 games to 1.
The final set.
That approach shot from Laurie just is not quite good enough. It's just up the center to that forehand. She needs to get it back across court. Short would be the best play and make Steffi Graf come into the court to hit the backhand.
Laurie did a nice job there of staying on the baseline and facing her opponent, which you must do sometimes.
Laurie's getting just about 50% of the points when she goes to the net. Been there at 38. 38 times, or 72 times, 137. Looks like she'll be coming this time.
Second double fault by Steffi Graf. That's 15-40.
And 2 break points for Laurie McNeil to get her back on serve.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
We're in the final set. Love 15. Laurie McNeil serving to Steffi Graf, the #1 seed. McNeil was seeded number 11. Just why Laurie McNeil had to beat her best friend Zena Garrison to advance. Then she had to beat Chris Evert. Now she has to beat the #1 seed Steffi Graf in order to meet the number 2 seed and the defending champion Martina Navratilova.
And no matter what happens to Laurie in this match, she can certainly go out of here with her head high. She's had a fantastic tournament. And she's certainly not out of this one.
She was asked in the press conference after she beat Chris. They said, "Do you feel you've arrived?" And she said, "No, I haven't arrived. I've just gotten to the semifinals." But you know, you see a lot of players come and go that threaten the top players, and as far as I'm concerned, her future is no longer veiled. She's a player.
Something interesting is coming up here. Steffi Graf has not lobbed that often. The very first point in this game,
15.
Laurie McNeil, the fans at home I don't think saw, but Laurie missed an overhead. And that time, Laurie McNeil was 2 feet from the net to hit the volley. Steffi should hit some lobs now.
Game to McNeil. And it's 3-all in the finale.
3 games all. Quiet, please. Thank you.
Steffi Graf in 1987 hasn't lost a 3-set match. McNeil, on the other hand,
15, love.
13-8 this year in 3-setters.
And 2 of those 13 were in this tournament, and they were 7-6 in the third. She actually had 3 3-setters, but 2 in a tiebreak. Incredible, great pressure tennis.
Perhaps try to play it a little too carefully.
Had a lot of court.
Yep.
I think we can all appreciate this dilemma.
Oh, sure. She's been terrific.
.30-15. Graf's hit an awful lot of balls into the net.
Steffi does not know how to temporize. She doesn't know how to pull her game down and be a little more careful. She knows just one gear.
the trophy that will go to the champion. There's some cash that goes along with it.
Break point for Laurie Mcneal.
And Tony, all the volleys are just short and compact
30,
and
40.
solid, as we see Peter Graf looking very concerned. But Laurie McNeil, when she has a chance on a high volley, she's punishing it. Except that one.
What a return of serve she made. Scampered into the net. Graf has to stab for it, and here's the forehand volley. You see she hit it way off center, rolled it in the net. What a tragedy, at the moment at least, for Laurie McNeil. That would have put her up 4 games to 3, and all she'd have to do is hold 2 more serves, and she'd be in the finals of the U.S. Open.
I think she knew that.
I think she might have. It was wide.
She's really been unflappable.
The volley was wide, so now Graf has the advantage. You can't keep going into that net and not miss a volley now and then. I don't care who you are.
We'll be back at the U.S. Open in just a moment. Laurie McNeil serving at 3-4 in the final set.
15 love.
Women's semifinal to see who plays Martina Navratilova.
A year ago on this court, it was Steffi Graf who had the 20,000 plus people screaming for her as she faced the #1 player and took her to the limit.
Beautiful serve.
It's got to be a lot different being on the other side
30
of
love.
all that applause, all that
love.
cheering.
You know, you have to give Graf a lot of credit too. She is not playing as well as she can play. She's in a real dogfight, and most of the people here are pulling for Laurie McNeil, and she's gutting it out and fighting as hard as she can. She's done a good job, kept her composure, and you can't forget she's just 18 years of age.
I've been forgetting it for the last 2 years, Tony.
Yeah, but she looks her age finally. She's acting her age today. This has been a tough one.
Beauty.
30-15.
Boris Becker finally turned into a teenager at this tournament. The 4th seed getting upset by
Talked
Brad
about
Gilbert.
pressure and all that kind of stuff.
That's 4 aces.
40-15.
It's 4 all.
Hold your seats, please. 4 games all. Quiet
first serve percentage by sets. McNeil 88% in the second set, 67 in this. Those statistics furnished to us courtesy of the Unisys Corporation.
On a court change a while back, Laurie Mcneal put a Band-Aid on her hand, and I think it's just slipped off, and she's trying to slip it back on. She's obviously either blistered or split a little bit or whatever. And there's that grip you're talking about, Mary, or Pam.
15 all, 4 all. Final set.
It was Laurie who talked about Pam a couple of days ago. Said some interesting things. Days ago in a press conference, someone asked Laurie what her earliest memories of the U.S. Open were, and she says, well, what I really remember is when I was about 14 years old watching 16-year-old Pam Shriver at the U.S. Open in the semifinals beating Martina. She said at that point it made me realize that that's what I wanted to do. Pam, I know you got goosebumps reading that.
And it felt a little old too. This morning, I saw Laurie Mcneal, and I said to her just that. I said at 16, I had no idea I could get to the finals U.S. Open, but suddenly I found myself in a match against Martina Navratilova, #1 player in the world, and suddenly I believed I could, and I think right now she believes she can too.
48-30.
We'll see how much Laurie Mcneal can punish this second serve as we see Pavel Slaza looking on.
There's the extra underspin on that drop volley. The ball comes back toward the net, and that's why it was so tough for Steffi to get to it. And Laurie just blocked it off into the open court. It's deuce.
That was one of the few points recently where Steffi Graf has dictated play. She took charge with a forehand, and Laurie Mcneal was falling off her back foot.
I wonder what would happen if Steffi served and came in a couple times. That takes part of Laurie's game plan away.
And she has served and volleyed 2 times in this match, which is twice more than she did the other day.
Maybe that's why not.
No, she can do it. She's not accustomed to doing it for sure. See Steffi going to the Kleenex, blowing her nose. She has a cold.
It's deuce.
That forehand doesn't look like it's been hit in a blighted condition.
Advantage Graf.
That approach was a little short, not much on it at all. But again, if you keep taking it going in, you can do some of those.
Graf, and we'll be back at the U.S. Open in just a moment. McNeil serving at 4-5 in the third final set. She's lost the first point. Below 15.
Oh, she was right on top of that one, closing the net. Just caught the tape.
Laurie's
Shot by Graf.
Yeah.
Laurie's
Tough
missed.
ball to volley.
Laurie has missed 2 forehand volleys this game. Both were under pressure. Both were tough. Now she's got to dig deep. She's 2 points from being out of this tremendous match.
Have another look at some quick hands by both gals. Bingo.
15-30.
Terrific tennis. 15-30. We're back live. And it is 2 match points for the #1 seed, Steffi Graf.
15-40.
Tony, that's the return of the champion. She's #1 in the world, and she has not been in this position very much, and she came up with a fantastic return off a very good first serve from Laurie.
She's hung in there this entire match. Has not played her best tennis.
Close. Terrific match played by both players.
Absolutely right.
Tomorrow, don't forget again, 10 o'clock we start. Edberg against Philander, Lindell Connors, and then the Women's Singles Championship. That's because of bad weather in the forecast. For all of our troops, then this is Pat Summerall saying so long from the National Tennis Center in Flushing Meadow, New York. Great match between Graf and McNeil.